Mesopotamia is their area is, just I told you just before, the land between rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. And this right side picture is this so-called hanging garden of Babylon. And you can second paragraph, in the middle of second paragraph, you can see that is the Nebuchadnezzar the second is the king of Neo-Babylonian Empire. He built this right side, this garden. This is the hanging garden of Babylon. This is a famous garden. Okay, this is the so-called seven ancient wonders of the world. And this is, I'm going to show you the video is. It takes long, but so I just first couple minutes. You have a look this one.
Hi there, I'm John.
This is a very famous guy. Always I think using his presentation. This is his lecture.
So about 5,000 years ago, or between the Tigris and Euphrates Potomoi, or rivers, cities started popping up, much like they had in our old friend the Indus River Valley. These early Mesopotamian cities.
This teacher teaching high school in the United States, and he has prepared. If you access YouTube, he has lots of presentation. He has all over the world, many kind of history, and also the current update. And also this is 12 minutes, but usually he spends a couple minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, very short, and very quick. Talking. It's very difficult to follow. Japanese people follow on. Oh, Hasegawa-san, welcome. Here come. I just started. Okay. And this one is so 12 minutes. He's talking about many issues about whole way around Mesopotamia. Okay, but I don't show everything. Let's continue.
Engaged in a form of socialism where farmers contributed their crops to public storehouses, out of which workers, like metal workers or builders or male models or whatever, would be paid uniform wages in grain. So basically, Mr. Green, were there really male models? Can you do blue steel? Oh, younger version of myself. How I hate you. Oh, the humiliation I suffer for you people. That was my best blue steel. That was as close as I can get. So anyway, if you lived in a city, you could be something other than a shepherd, and thanks to this proto-socialism, you could be reasonably sure that you'd eat. Stan, is there any way we can get another globe in here? I feel like this shot is inadequately globed. Yes, much better. You can tell the quality of a historian by the number of his or her globes. But even though you could give up your flock, a lot of people didn't want to, and one of the legacies of Mesopotamia is the enduring conflict between country and city. You see this explored a lot in some of our greatest art, like the Beverly Hillbillies and Deliverance, and the showdown between Enkidu and Gilgamesh in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is one of the oldest known works of literature, and I'm not going to spoil it for you. There's a link to the poem in the video info, but suffice it to say that in the showdown between country and city, the city wins. So what were these city-states like? Well, pooping tape and put it on the internet. No, because there's a written record. Mesopotamia gave us writings. For how many goats? I'm not kidding, by the way. A lot of cuneiform is about wheat and goats. I don't think you can overestimate the importance of writing, but let's just make
this is show you.
First, writing and reading.
Writing, and you can see the character of just the first time they founded this character. You have this one.
I don't think you can overestimate the importance of writing, but let's just make 3 points here. First, writing and reading are things that not everyone can do, so they create a class distinction.
So Mesopotamia they founded the first character, and then succeeding with Islam. Islam founded numerical figures, and mathematics, right, and astronomers. And this is really the start of the civilization, is Mesopotamia. Okay?
In fact, survives to this day. Foraging social orders were relatively egalitarian, but the Mesopotamians had slaves, and they played this metaphorically resonant sport that was like polo, except instead of riding on horses, you rode on other people. And written language played an important role in widening the gap between classes. 2, once writing enters the picture, you have actual history instead of just a lot of guesswork and archaeology. And 3, without writing, I would not have a job. So I'd like to personally thank Mesopotamia for making it possible for me to to work while reclining in my lazy boy. So why did this writing happen in Mesopotamia? Well, the Fertile Crescent, while it is fertile, is lacking pretty much everything else. In order to get metal for tools, or stone for sculpture, or wood for burning, Mesopotamia had to trade. This trading eventually led Mesopotamia to develop the world's first territorial kingdom, which will become very important and will eventually culminate in some extraordinarily inbred households. The city-state period of Mesopotamia ended around 2000 BCE, probably because drought and a shift in
Just started.
invaders coming by. You might just be like, hey, nomadic invaders, come on in. You seem better than the last guy. Well, that was the case until the Assyrians came along.
Okay,
The
moving to the
Assyrians
last
have a
part.
deserved reputation for being the brutal bullies of Mesopotamia. But the Assyrians did give us an early example of probably the most important and durable form of political organization in world history, and also Star Wars history, the Empire. So the biggest problem with empires is that, by definition, they're diverse and multi-ethnic, which makes them hard to unify. So beginning around 911 BCE, the Neo-Assyrian Empire grew from its hometowns of Ashur and Nineveh to include the whole of Mesopotamia, the eastern coast of the Mediterranean, and even, by 680 BCE, Egypt. They did this thanks to the most brutal, terrifying, and efficient army the world had ever seen. Adjectives describing my college girlfriend. For one thing, the army was a meritocracy. Generals weren't chosen based on who their dads were. They were chosen based on if they were good at generaling.
Okay.
Stan, is generaling a word?
Okay,
It
going
is!
back.
Also, they were super mean. Like, they would deport hundreds of thousands of people to separate them from their history and their families, and also moved skilled workers around where they were most needed. Also, the Neo-Assyrians loved to find would-be rebels and lop off their appendages, particularly their noses for some reason. And there was your standard raping and pillaging and torture, all of which was done in the name of Ashur, the great god of the Neo-Assyrians, whose divine regent was the king. Ashur, through the king, kept the world going, and as long as conquest continued, the world would not end. But if conquest ever stopped, the world would end, and there would be rivers of blood and weeping and gnashing of teeth. You know how apocalypses go. The Assyrians spread this worldview with propaganda like monumental architecture and readings about how awesome the king was at public festivals, all of which was designed to inspire awe in the empire's subjects. Oh, that reminds me, it's time for the open letter.
Okay, so going back to the